Hey, good morning, everyone. How's it going? So, you're riding with Kenny. If you've been following my channel for any period of time, you know that I've always advocated for people getting a PPI when they're purchasing a used car. Now, what's a PPI? A PPI is a pre-purchase inspection. Now, if you're buying a used car from a dealer, like a late model, and it comes with a warranty and everything, you probably should still get it done just in case, but I would ask to see the Carfax, stuff like that, even though Carfax doesn't necessarily have everything on there, especially if it wasn't reported, like accident-wise. If you're not car savvy at all, I do recommend it, regardless. Even if it's like I said, at a dealer, ask them if you could take it and take it to someplace else and have it looked at. If it's in an area that you're not familiar with, call around to local shops. Can you do a pre-purchase inspection? You know, it's probably going to cost you up to $150 to have it done. However, $150 is better than spending, $10, $20, $30 plus $1,000 on a used car only to find out the car had been wrecked and not reported. So you just bought a car that was wrecked, or there's hidden problems or whatever. Because a dealership may not even know about it. A private seller may not even know about it. A private seller may be hiding it. You don't know. I don't have a problem with people that flip cars, buy it, fix it, turn around and sell it to make a profit. I don't have a problem with that. A lot of those people are good people. They do it to make extra money, and it can be a lucrative business. However, you got to watch out because there are a lot of people that are not honest about it. Another thing too is we get people that come into us to get a pre-purchase inspection, and we're going to tell them, hey, I don't really find anything wrong with this, but this particular vehicle that you're looking at is known for these problems. And this can be very expensive to fix because you're at that mileage cusp, of where problems start. And I'm going to give you a good example. Like, I don't understand people that don't listen to us when we tell them something. And I know the reason for it. It's because they see the shiny object in front of them, and they have to have that shiny object. It's oh wow, I gotta have it. I've done it. We've all done it. And I've done it, and it bit me. I think I mentioned to you about the 68 Barracuda that I purchased. I know I did. Maybe I'll mention that again at the end of this video. Maybe, if I remember. I tend to forget things. So, the vehicle in particular that I'm talking about here, customer came in about 6 or 8 weeks ago. And it was a Range Rover, I don't even know what they call them, the really squared off SUV vehicles. They had come in to do a pre-purchase inspection. It was an 05, 06. And I really didn't find anything wrong with it. It had some minor body work at some point. It looked okay. I didn't really see much of anything. And it had 150,000 miles on it. So I went into the customer because it's like, this is not a car that you buy to be your daily driver. It really isn't. They're not particularly known for being extra reliable or anything like that. So I said to the customer, what's the asking price for this car? Well, they want $6,500. $6,500 is a little bit on the high end for that particular vehicle with the mileage and everything else. Like I said, it was in good shape. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. I'd say it was middle of the road. You could tell it was somewhat maintained. But I'm like, these things are not really known for their reliability. They're incredibly expensive to fix. I would probably avoid this vehicle. Oh, but $6,500 fits my budget. And as soon as I hear that, I know they already decided they're going to buy it. They're just making themselves feel better by coming in and get a pre-purchase inspection. So I'm like, well, you can do what you want, but I wouldn't buy it. Well, do you find anything really wrong with it? Well, it's got a couple of oil leaks, nothing dramatic. It should probably have a couple of services done to it. The brakes are about halfway. Stuff like that. Don't really see anything to be concerned with. However, my recommendation is avoid it. Avoid it. So they had, I guess, their prior vehicle which they were borrowing a vehicle from their parents. Now, this was a person that was probably in their 30s, mid-30s, a person that's not experienced with cars really, per se. At least I don't think so. So they were borrowing a car, and this was going to replace the car that they had, that they lost. I don't know what happened to the car that they had prior. But I recommended find something else. You know, find something that you can get a warranty on. If $6,500 is in your budget, I'm sure you could probably find a used car at a dealership or something like that at a that's halfway decent. So sure enough, we didn't hear from them again. Just yesterday, on a tow truck comes in this Range Rover. Check it out, needs an alternator. Yep, they purchased it anyway. So now it needs an alternator. Guess what? The alternator for that car was $1,100. $1,100 plus labor. So when all said and done, it's going to be about $1,800 parts and labor. So yeah. And of course the customer was crying, I can't afford that. Why did you buy the car? I specifically told you I wouldn't buy this car because it's expensive to fix. And now they're learning the lesson. So I'm not sure I understand why when you bring your car to a shop, and I've seen this happen over and over and over again, where people will just ignore what you're telling them and they'll buy the car. I just, like I said, it's not that I don't know why. I do know why. It's like, hey, $6,500, I could have had a Toyota Corolla, a 2015 or something like that. But instead, I'm going to buy this Land Rover, Range Rover, whatever the heck it's called. And, it's going to, people are going to notice me type of thing. I'm going to have a Range Rover parked in my driveway. Ooh, yeah. Ooh. And your wallet goes, when you have to fix it. Because, yeah, they are expensive to fix. So, I don't know. I guess do what you want. But now, I said I got burned myself because I had that shiny object. Ooh, I gotta have it. Squirrel, that type of thing. So, I did mention this in another video, and I'll tell you the story again. I was 18 years old. No, it's actually 17 years old. I was 17 years old, and I happened to see an ad for a 68 Barracuda coupe. And it looked pretty good in the pictures. It was in a penny saver. I believe it was a penny saver. No, actually it was like that pamphlet thing that comes out where they have the photographs of the car, because penny saver didn't have photographs. It was just like a regular listing. So that's how I remember it looked good in the pictures. Then again, you can make dog poop look like ice cream in the pictures, So I went and looked at it, and I fell in love with it. It was this nice blue with white stripes. It had this kind of a dorky snorkel hood scoop on it. There was a bolt on. That should have told me something right away. It had Krager SS's on it. Had flared out rear wheel wells, kind of like a 70s thing. Early 70s that was popular. I think late 60s, early 70s. And it ran good. It was a 318 4-speed 4-barrel car. I'm sure it was just originally a 318 2-barrel car, but with a 4-speed. But this was somebody put a rock performer intake or something on it. I don't recall what it was anymore. So I bought it, and I shouldn't have. I was just infatuated with how good this car looked. So I got it home, whatnot, and I drove that thing. I think it was 2 weeks, and I was going down the road, and I hit a pothole. And it wasn't a gigantic pothole either. It was a pretty good sized pothole, but it wasn't a gigantic pothole. But when I hit the pothole, it didn't blow the tire out, it tore the left front suspension out of the car. And it shouldn't. So I got the thing towed over to my house, and I started investigating it. And the frame rail was completely rotted away. I checked the other side, completely rotted away. Why didn't I notice that? Why did I not notice that? Because the guy who I bought the car from, his family owned HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, ductwork company. They would custom make ductwork for like businesses and homes and stuff like that. I think they catered more to commercial business. And what they did was they had covered the frame rails with the tin that you use for the HVAC ductwork. And they had covered the frame up, glued it in place somehow. I think they even riveted it in some spots. And then they heavily undercoated it. So you couldn't see it if you took a quick glance, but it was there. So yeah, that's why I didn't notice it. Sorry for the sun glare. It's killing me here. But yeah, that was an expensive lesson that I learned at an early age. That became a parts car. And yeah, broke my heart because I spent my good hard-earned money on that car, and it killed me that happened. So it became a parts car, and I wound up junking it because there was nothing. Like, I took the engine, transmission, rear end out of it. I took the interior out of it, stuff like that, and I just junked the rest. But what were you going to do? But yeah, so I learned my lesson the hard way. So anyway, that's it for this video. I just wanted to go over that with you. If just because something's nice and shiny doesn't mean it's good. And if you're going to have a mechanic tell you, I would probably avoid this car, you should probably listen to them. You know, it's not like I was going to go and buy it, that's for sure, you know. So anyway, that's about it. All right, guys, I hope you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. If you look down below in the description, you see links to Amazon products that I personally use, and I would appreciate it if you could give it a click. Giving it a click shows I get traffic. If you buy something even better, I do get a small percentage, usually about 1 to 2%. So, you know, every little bit helps. So anyway, that's it. Guys, have a great day. Thank you for watching, and keep wrenching.